bit shaky through the first 4 with the bats, but you guys were able to rebound. Just your thoughts on that? Goes down the box, it's a pretty complete game.
Yeah, early on it was kind of had a feeling of one of those games that we just weren't going to snap out of it, you know. And good thing Isaiah hit a homer there and picked us up and kind of got us going. And next inning, Jax Ryan had a big pinch hit home run that kind of sparked us as well. But you know, yeah, pretty flat up until that 4th or 5th inning. You know, we're walking some guys that was uncharacteristic, and it just was like, come on, guys, sharpen up a little bit. But they were able to put it together there in the 5th and play a good second half of the game.
They said that home run kind of sparked some life back into the team. Is that what you saw in the dugout, that they just kind of got rejuvenated after that?
I think so, yeah. It's just the guys were pressing and came out of the gates. And we hit a few balls hard right at guys. And, you know, it was just one of those eerie nights where all of a sudden the wind is blowing in at Muni, which how often do you see that? And that's happened a handful of times this year where last 3 years, I don't think I've ever seen the wind blow in. And it just seems it was one of those eerie nights where, you know, a bad pickoff throw hits the umpire and kicks right back to the first baseman and throws our guy out at second. Like, come on, man, it's not going to be one of these nights, is it? And it just took us a while to kind of get going and kickstart ourselves. But again, Zay came up with a big homer there and kind of got us going.
Coach, can you speak to the pitching tonight? I mean, only had to use 3 arms. Besides the walks, only 3 hits allowed, 1 earned run. There wasn't a hit given up after Schaefer came out. And because of the mercy, you didn't have to throw anybody in the 9th. So just kind of the value that you got out of, you know, only having to use 3 arms tonight.
You know, it was good. You know, obviously the soft contact was great. You know, the 6 walks, that's something that needs to clean up a little bit. We got lucky there, and I think the 2nd inning where we two leadoff walks back to back, and that usually comes back to bite you. It didn't that inning, I don't think. But you know, we got to be a little bit better than that, I think, in those situations. But other than that, Gibby threw the ball really well. Carlone threw the ball well. We had Chance Tequila up in the pen and was going to come in to start the 9th, which would have been a really cool story. But we ended up, you can't complain about a walk-off win, but you know, that would have been a big moment there in the 9th.
What went into the length of his unuse, if you will, to start to see? Is he? I know he was out all last season. Is he still recovering from that injury? Or you just haven't found a spot for him?
You know, he's had one of those injuries that really difficult to come back from. To that kid's credit, he just keeps working and working and working, and he's gradually gotten better and better and better. And he's still not up to where he was pre-surgery, but he's at the point where he's competitive. And he's probably the most competitive kid we have in that clubhouse. So I will take the competitive drive along with what he has stuff-wise now, just to, you know, to get out there and give him a shot. And that's kind of what we wanted to do tonight. It was, the situation was right for him. But then we ended up scoring there in the 8th and walking it off. So, you know, but hopefully there'll be another opportunity for him.
Isaiah was kind of talking about last game, how hitting is really contagious with this team, that one inning or seeing that one guy go up there and get the big knock really fuels the rest of the team. But then at points, it's kind of the opposite, where if everybody's struggling, it's kind of a short spurt. Is there a way to kind of, that you feel like needs to change, where it's neutral, it's not necessarily all at once or nothing at all?
I'd like to have it all at once throughout the whole game. Would be great, but you know, hitting, that's the old adage, hitting's contagious. You know, it just takes a couple guys to put together good solid at bats and get something going. When you're not getting things to fall, the last thing you can do is try harder. You just have to go put together solid at bats. And again, we preached it time and time again with these guys, is stick with your plan, stick with your zone where you're hunting, and try to stay with that and not do too much. Again, tonight was one of those nights where usually the wind's blowing out here. Tonight the wind was blowing in, so that means you definitely can't try to hit it through the wind. You got to try to stay low and hit ground balls and line drives, and you know, stay in the gaps, those type of things. But you know, the main thing is when you're in a cold spell, you can't try and do too much.
Brandon's just kind of at a slow spurt going on here. Is there something that is kind of a swing thing? There were points where he was hitting the ball really hard, but he just wasn't getting results. Is there kind of a point that he's at right now?
For me, with him, it's just timing. We've been talking to him a lot about that lately, just on just the timing mechanism, and it's not clicking for him right now. The swing's great. The BPs are great. Batting practices are great. The cage work, everything is phenomenal. It's the same brand that we all know. Just when we're getting into a game, things are starting too late, and he's just not on time the way he should be. And we're trying a lot of things to try and get that correct. And when it clicks, it's going to go. It needs to click. We just haven't gotten to that point yet. But there isn't a kid that cares more than him in that clubhouse, which might be a little bit of an issue. He wants it so bad and trying really, really hard. And I don't think there's a young man, like I said, that cares more than him. And we as coaches are doing everything we can to get him right, and it's really nothing overly mechanical. It's a timing thing where he's got to get on time quicker. And if he does that, he's going to hit. And if he doesn't, we're going to keep struggling. So, bottom line, he's too talented and too good a hitter. It's a guy that we need to get going. If we want to do what we want to do, we're going to need him.
Has that had anything to do with moving him to DH instead of left field the last couple of games, wanting him to just focus a little bit more on the plate?
He DH'd most of last year and had a lot of success moving from DH in left field. I moved him to DH just to kind of, mix other guys in, keep him. That's when he had a great year last year when he was primarily DH. So that's why we're trying to kind of go that route a little bit this year now, just to see if maybe we just focus on hitting, if that gets him back in the groove. I always thought DHing was very tough. I always like to play the field along with hitting, but some guys click better when they're DHing. And again, based on the year he had last year, we're trying a lot of things to try to get him going. So again, we're going to need him down the stretch, and I'm confident in him that he'll get going. But at the same token, we got to win games, and we got to do whatever we can to win games too.
Did you get a chance to talk to Alex Champagne at all, who's on your first team at ASU?
I haven't talked to him other than when he came up to bat the first time. I told him I wanted my glove back. So I let him use my glove when he was here, and he took it with him. So, which I'm glad to give it to him. He's such a tremendous young man. I'm happy to, if I were going to donate a glove to somebody, he can take my glove. So, just a great kid. Happy he's doing well for them, and wish him all the success in the world after tomorrow.
On the other end, Matt King won his second Newcomer of the Week award in the Big 12 Player of the Week. Can you talk about his progression from the beginning of the season? He was kind of a mix and match, bottom of the order guy, and now he's a vital piece that 1-2-3 at the beginning of the game, and it feels like he's driving in a few guys a game, or he's finding ways to put guys in position to score, whatever the case may be. Just kind of his value in the order at this point in the season.
He's just a baseball player. I've said it from day one. He's the kid that just comes to the ballpark every day. The guys in the stands, the scouts with the clipboards, are probably not going to come and grade him out, as A+ skills across the board. But if you want a kid that just knows how to play baseball, that's your kid. I'll take 10 of Matt King any day. He's a tough kid, very focused every day, that you don't have to ever worry about him being ready to play. He's one of those guys that the motor is there every day, wants to play every day, and he's steady Eddie. And again, you want a consistent baseball player, it's Matt King. And so he's doing nothing but proving his worth every day. It's not a flash in the pan. The kid just plays baseball, and it's a great player all the way around. So we're lucky to have him, and he just keeps doing his thing. So again, for him to take over that job, you got a kid like Jax Ryan, who's a heck of a player too. And those two were kind of platooning and mixing and matching, and you know, Matt's made it to the point where I just can't take him out of lineup. And you know, Jax is a good player who's hitting 330 or 340, who's sitting on the bench, and I'm like, man, I got to figure out ways to get him in there. So, you know, Kinger's made it tough on me to take him out of lineup, and as long as he keeps doing what he's doing, I'm not going to. So, but some of these other guys got to get going, or we'll figure out ways to get Jax in there. So.
You found a way to get Jax in tonight, and you rewarded you with his first career home run. What does that moment mean for him?
It's big. You know, I think it's not only big for him, but big for everybody. I think it keeps everybody on their toes. You can't get complacent and think that you're, you know, can go up and, not that anybody thinks this way, but you got to be on your toes. You got to be on your A game every day. Otherwise, we got kids chomping at the bit to take over. So, but for him to, you know, come through in that moment was big for our team tonight, because we were struggling getting going, and big for him on a personal level, because I know if I think I know Jax Ryan like I do, I mean, I'm sure the kid's frustrated. You know, what more I got to do to get in the lineup? Well, nothing. You got a kid hitting 440 in front of you right now. I don't know what to tell you, kid, other than stay ready, and I'll try to get you your opportunities. But if I got to mix him in at DH, I'll mix him in at DH, or you know, wherever I can out there. But between he and, you know, Matt King and Kyle Walker, it's tough sledding finding a way in the lineup over those two kids. And but you know, Jax just waits his turn, and every time he gets the opportunity, he seems to have a knack for coming through. So we got to try to find other ways to get him in the lineup.
For your lineup as a whole, early on tonight, their starter Donegan, it was off speed early, get to 2 strikes, then get that fastball. Then their second pitcher was very fastball heavy. How was your team able to stay locked in on that fastball and really break the game open after they got Donegan out?
You know, that's the basic approach to hitting for us, is you got to be on the fastball. You know, and if we can't hit a fastball, we're not going to be very good. So I don't care what level you're at, if it's Little League or Pony Colt League or high school or college or professional baseball, if you can't hit a fastball, you ain't going to play very long. So that's got to be the #1 thing that we got to do, is be on time for the heater, and you know, adjust to the breaking balls, and hopefully get them above the zone where we're not chasing down below the zone.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Willie.
Thank you.